Calgary last year. And he leads off this World Championship downhill here in Beaver Creek. He's a wild one. He was suspended in '87 for disciplinary reasons. We're going to see him all the way down the course.
Starting off number 1, Bob, it's a good position because the course is really smooth, but it's pretty tough to win from there. Sometimes the snow starts speeding up a little bit.
Top part of this course relatively flat. The bumps are starting to come up, though, and here we have a turn. This is good for gliders, and look at him go in the air. Lots of bumps have been built in this course.
Overall, the terrain, you'd have to say, is fairly gentle, but because of all these bumps, there's lots of action, and high speeds, too, 81 miles an hour.
When the racers first came here and heard about the World Championships being here, they didn't think this was going to be a tough downhill. But it is a tough downhill. Bernard Russi, the 1972 Olympic gold medalist from Switzerland, designed this course, and it's really got a lot for everybody.
They've done a lot of moving of earth during the summer. They created some fun hazards, some really unique rolls.
I like the way some of these shots from behind, they kind of give you a view of what it's like for the racers. It's just like they're going out and they don't know where they're going to land. Very hard snow under this little soft layer. They've done a great job getting all the snow off.
Actually, Bob, it's really amazing. It snowed more than 2 feet in the last several days here, but they've got the snow packed down with snow grooming equipment. The course is actually fantastic.
I can't believe they got it in this kind of shape. I mean, it's really perfect. Here we have play because he keeps coming down here trying to stay in that tuck.
One of the trickiest parts of the course, Rattlesnake Alley, right here.
Okay, Rattlesnake Alley has really been iced down, and it is tricky. They go up on the banks, and they have to be trying to stay in the tuck, but it's tough.
A lot of different lines through there. Some of the skiers will be up high in the bank, some of them down low in the trough, like Clay was.
Oh, he got off a little bit, almost on that inside ski.
He's leaning in a little bit too much.
As he goes over, Russi's rolls at the bottom to the finish line. The first racer down here at Vail. A time of 2:12:39. The first racer down. Daniel Maher from Switzerland is 27 years of age. Maher has won 1 downhill this winter and had 2 third places, all in the last 3 of the 8 downhills held so far, so he's kind of hot now.
Well, sometimes people will say that he doesn't really have a polished ski technique, but he does have a strong, aggressive style, and he uses that kind of go-for-it spirit to get him down to the course fast.
As you said, he's not that nifty in the turn, but he does keep him going downhill, and he's very good going straight. And he's 1.32 seconds ahead of play. So his skis are running, and he's running fast, too.
First of 5 Swiss in this competition, having a stunning run
into Rattlesnake Alley.
You can see him kind of riding up on the banks. He's got 1 ski up really high, 1 ski down in the trough.
Let's see how he is now. 1.24 seconds ahead of Christoph Play. A lot of racers felt that it wasn't an advantage to start number 1. Peter Mueller had that number before the race was postponed. But when they redrew, he drew so much farther back, number 11.
Well, Maher's all over the place in the last few corners. He's really letting her run out.
Look, here he is in first place for the moment. 1.48 seconds ahead. Subaru presents. And here he is on the course, the 1980 Olympic champion who fought it out with Franz Klammer to see who would be on the Austrian team in 1980 and beat him out. The top part of the course, by the way, is taped, and then we join them lower down. This is Leonard Stock, 30 years of age.
It's amazing, though, Bob, for a guy that hasn't won a downhill race in 9 years to suddenly come back, and now he's on top of the field.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Other than his Olympic gold medal, he has never won an Olympic gold medal until a few weeks ago in Lac, Switzerland. He has 3 children at home, but he loves skiing. He likes ski racing. And as he comes through Rattlesnake Alley, he's 1.8 seconds behind Maher. Leonard Stock has had some trouble with his calf, which he pulled in training in Bingen, Switzerland a couple of weeks ago, and that's been bothering him. Way off the course there.
Stock's a great technical skier, but he's had problems on the flats. He hasn't been fast, and he's well back today.
Way behind, almost 2 seconds out for Leonard Stock, 30-year-old from Austria. The hottest racer on the tour right now is Mark Girardelli, racing for Luxembourg. He has won 3 of the last 4 World Cup downhills, and just last week won the gold medal in the combined event of these World Championships here in Vail, Beaver Creek.
Well, for me, I'm content with 1 medal, and it's a gold medal, and that is very good for me. And if I'm able to win some other medals, even if it's not gold, even if I don't win one other, then I'm content.
Mark's coach is his father helmet. I asked him how it works.
I think this is not so a problem.
Yeah, it must be you enjoy it.
When he was a young boy, I said to him, listen, look what is doing your old father, and then you go always the other side. This must be a very good way.
Well, Helmut is quite a character, and the two of them have a great relationship. But now, all alone, without anybody to help him, Girardelli on the race course. He turns so well. The question, Todd, is how will he be going straight on this course here?
He's already skied the training runs here really well. He's been super fast, and the skis have been running for him. Sometimes what he doesn't stay in a tuck as long as the other skiers, but he always makes his time on the turns.
And 1.8 seconds out. It doesn't look like Girardelli's skis are running very well.
Oh, no, that's bad for Girardelli. He's had such good luck all week in training, but today, with this snow so cold, you have to hit the wax right on, otherwise you just don't have a chance.
And as he exits Rattlesnake Alley, 2 seconds out. Girardelli, who has changed boots last summer, has had a sensational season, but it's not going to be that way today.
We can see that he's skiing well in these corners. He's carrying a nice line. He's back in his tuck, but if his skis aren't moving, you don't have a chance.
Leader Daniel Maher from Switzerland. Girardelli through the finish line in 3rd place for the moment. We'll be back with more of the age from Austria. Was the 1985 World Cup downhill champion, but then went into a slump. But he's skiing well this year. He's won 2 downhill races.
Making a beautiful turn there. The thing that you'll notice about Hofliner is he's so subtle on his edges. He uses his knees and his ankles to absorb any bumps and ripples, and he's got a beautiful position in the air.
His teammate Leonard Stock, he came down earlier, finished 4th, so not much for these older Austrians to cheer about today.
Not yet.
So far.
Hofliner's 0.6 of a second out. His skis are fairly close. He's got to make up some time in the lower part of the course.
Herfliner is very good in icy turns. After his downhill victories in 1985, his skis were broken, and they said it took him a long time to get new skis. Changed manufacturers last year, and now he's moved up very close. Only 27 seconds out, 27 hundredths.
He made up some time in Rattlesnake Alley, was riding the bank much higher than some of the earlier skiers, and he's getting out of shape.
He really got twisted. That'll cost him a lot of time, and he's way off the course.
Bad mistake for Hofliner.
And that cost him dearly. He's 33 hundredths of a second, but moves into 2nd place. Helmut Herfliner from Austria. 20-year-old youngster, if you want to call him that, on the Swiss team, William Bessie. He started skiing very well in the early part of the season. He's the junior world champion in 1986, and the Swiss, who are really loaded with veterans, brought him along, and he skied well this winter.
Well, he's had some great training runs, but the thing about a young skier is he wants the results to happen too quickly, and I think sometimes he's trying just too hard on race day.
But you know what they say about him, Todd, is that he's very good on race day. He's a good competitor. He also comes from the French-speaking part of Switzerland, and everybody else on the Swiss team speaks German, so he's having trouble finding people to talk to him. That's a tough problem, isn't it?
Well, he's not going to have any problem finding people to talk to today if he betters his time. He's only 3 100ths behind at the midpoint, skiing high off the wall in Rattlesnake Alley.
He's got his teammate Daniel Maher in 1st place. Here comes William Bessie. He's 7 hundredths of a second in 1st place at the moment. He has a good chance to take over the lead.
pushing around that last corner, back in his tuck early.
He looks like he's skiing very well. He's got a great chance. Looking to get back in his tuck. Down to the finish line. Does he do it? No! By only 0.03 of a second. And the Swiss are first and second. Mara and Bessie. 22-year-old has won 2 World Cup downhills, both in Val Gardena, Italy. And this should be a good course for him, Todd.
He likes the icy courses. He likes difficult turns. He likes courses that you have to really put your head down and go for it. And the thing about Rob Boyd, he's always got a little bit left for race day.
He's a tremendous competitor. Not only is he good in motocross, he's a good hockey player, too.
Well, he's extremely versatile in his training, but he's 1.3 seconds behind. So that's not good for him to this point.
The Canadian team has been racked by injuries this year. Brian Stemmel, another good youngster on the team, really hurt himself in Kitzbühel, Austria. He's just, at this moment, returning from the Innsbruck hospital. Boyd is going to be way behind. 1 second out. Well, he picked up a little time on the lower part.
He did make some time. He stayed in his tuck right through Rattlesnake Alley, and I think he picked up a lot of time in there.
Let's see if he can move up into the top 3.
Last couple turns, he's had problems in training, but he's back in his tuck early.
He was good right through there. He's good off the bump. Will it be enough? No! 98 seconds, 98 hundredths behind. He is in 4th place. Just made the German team. He's only 21 years of age. By the way, we've just gotten a bulletin. It's 11 degrees below 0 at the top. That's cold.
We'll have to keep our eyes on that. The servicemen for sure will be up there with a couple pair of skis for every racer, and as the temperature warms up, they may be finding that they're changing skis.
Tauscher's serving in the customs in Germany. However, you won't find him at the border because he's stationed to a sports center while he's working on his skiing. He's an outstanding young talent. Broke his arm last year, went to Calgary with screws in his arm, and went through the meter to get into the airport. All the alarms went off. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. But he's back and skiing well. Just made the team last week. You can hear those edges on the ice through Rattlesnake Alley. And 2 100ths of a second behind. The youngster from West Germany, Hans-Jörg Tauscher.
Bob, I think what might be happening is so cold up on the top part of the course, if your skis are not running up there, the temperature must be quite a bit warmer in the middle because some of our latest skiers have really made up some time in the middle part of the course.
Tauscher has a chance to be right up there, and he's in first place by 0.5 of a second. What an upset so far. Maurer moves to second place. Tauscher is in first place. Certainly knows every inch of this downhill, and at 31 years of age, he has the experience. We know he has the strength.
This could be the strongest Peter Mueller that you've ever seen. He's looking for this race. He feels badly because Zurbriggen beat him last year at the Olympics, and he's going full out today.
He won the first downhill of the season in Val Gardena, Italy, and has been in a terrible slump since then. He wants this race. Look at him stay in the tuck, even going off the bumps. And he's 0.2 of a second in first place right now. Peter Mueller, who hasn't been skiing very well, is having a great run.
People will often call him a good glider, and here's a perfect case of seeing Mueller gliding. Look at his tuck. Watch how low he can get in his tuck, and he lets his skis run perfectly flat.
How's he look through there? Todd, it looks like he slid just a little bit.
Well, he's taking a low line there and lost a little bit of time.
Not much, though. He's 0.14 of a second in first place. The key down here is these turns.
Nicely around those last 2 turns, and look at him tuck it out towards the finish.
Here comes Peter Mueller off the last rolls. Coming to the finish line. Does he do it? No! He lost time in the turns. He's in second place for the moment. Tauscher stays in first. On the World Cup circuit, 30-year-old Peter Wernsberger from Austria. He won the World Cup in 1986 in downhill. He's had a second and a third this year. He could do well here, Todd.
Well, he's up and down. A lot of his coaches say he's got an explosive personality. When things are going well for him, they go really well. But when they start going badly, then he gets mad at himself, gets frustrated really easily.
We'll see here with this split coming up. 800ths of a second behind so far, and Biersberger is good in the turns. He could make it up down through here.
The skis are definitely making a big story today. Some of the skiers that have fast skis and some like Michael Meyer who are very slow.
A little bit of a slip in Rattlesnake Alley. That'll cost him some. It did. It cost him quite a bit. Now he's 0.6 of a second behind. Peter Biersberger is going to have to ski these turns very well if he's going to move up in the top 3.
Smooth off those bumps. He's got a nice line in the bottom part of the course. I don't know if he can make it up, though.
Trying to get down in that tuck as fast as he can. And no, he's in 6th place. He lost a lot of time on the bottom. Hans-Jörg Tauscher from West Germany stays in 1st place. Mueller is 2nd. Excellent. This 27-year-old battled it out with Franz Heinze for the last spot on the Swiss team. Swiss are having, most countries are allowed all countries are allowed 4 people in the race. The Swiss are allowed 5 because they have the defending world champion, Mueller. He doesn't count against their quota. So they got 5 guys in here.
That sure is tough on the Swiss team because you know they've got 6 or 7 guys that should be in this race, but to make that quota of only 4, it's kind of heartbreaking, especially for someone like Heinze.
Oh, he's 0.9 of a second in front. What a run he's having. He almost didn't make the team. You say it's tough for the Swiss team. I think it's tough for the rest of the races, Todd. They got 1 more Swiss to contend with. How about Alpine? He hasn't been very good this year. Hasn't had any top 10 results. Here he's coming down here. Great going.
Riding high on the bank in the exit of the Rattlesnake.
Let's see here. Now he's lost a little bit of it, but he's still 0.6 in front. If he can ski these turns down here, he can move into 1st place. What a race we have. Herman Zurbriggen is yet to come.
Well, skis are running on the top part of the course. We'll have to see how well they're going in the bottom. He's in a good line.
He was a little bit weak in that turn. He slipped a little bit. It's going to be close to the finish line. 3rd place. He lost all kinds of time. Tauscher stays in 1st place. And now it's Herman Zurbriggen from Switzerland, the Olympic gold medalist from Calgary. When he races downhill, it looks like he has no fidgets. He looks for speed, though, and when he gets in that start, he is another person. Quiet off skis, but on skis, Herman Zurbriggen is another kind of person. The Swiss are 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and 5th.
Look how tight he was around that corner. Never got out of his tuck once. He's taken the best line of anyone we've seen so far.
The Swiss are great in downhill, but it's Tauscher from West Germany who has the lead. Zurbriggen is 0.3 of a second behind, but he's great in the turns. And through Rattlesnake Alley, still tucking.
Well, that's interesting. Zurbriggen stayed right in the bottom of the trough, didn't go up on the bank at all.
But he lost all kinds of time. 1.2 seconds behind. Barring a miracle, Zurbriggen is not going to win this downhill.
We're definitely seeing crazy things with the skis because Zurbriggen was so fast on the top. Obviously, a ski problem down here in the bottom part of the course.
Herman Zurbriggen now off the final rolls, the Russi rolls coming through the finish line. 10th position, 2 seconds out. A very disappointing result for Pirda. 27-year-old. What do you think, Todd? Has he got a good shot at it?
He's always good in training. He has a good head for training, but sometimes he gets a little bit too nervous on race day. He doesn't leave enough left for that race run. Got a good tuck position. You can see how he's got those hands up in front of his face, trying to get aerodynamic.
But you know, Todd, it's got to be tough for the Canadian team with all the injuries they've had this year. You know, you're sitting next to a guy at dinner every night, and the next night he's not there. But okay, Belchik's having a good run. He's only half a second behind.
The Canadian team this year has been decimated, but that's what happens when you have that go-for-it spirit. All of the guys really go for it all out, and sometimes their skill level is not quite up to the amount they attack the course.
Coming down here, a very critical part of the course. 1.4 seconds out. Belchik lost a lot of time after that midway.
A lot of people complained this week about Rattlesnake Alley and whether or not it should be there. But today we found out that that was an absolutely critical part of this downhill course. Some of the skiers have made an awful lot of time in there.
Oh, and he's down. boy, Belchik, just when it looks like he relaxed just a little bit.
Could be a case of losing concentration. You're so close to the finish there.
They have to get him out of there. Looks like he's okay, though, but they have to get him off of there because another racer boiling down on him. Looks he's okay. He's all right.
Well, let's see what happens there, Bob. He's got a good position over there. He lands, and he just leans in on his uphill ski for a second. A loss of concentration as far as I can see.
Almost looked like he landed on that inside ski.
The extraordinary conditioning of these athletes.
Todd, as he leaves the starting line, you know, the Norwegians are really good in slalom over the years, but they're starting to get very good here in downhill.
All it takes is one skier to break into the top 10 in the odd downhill race, and suddenly it gives the whole rest of the team a great spirit. Scardo's put in some good runs this year. The situation with the skis has really got me baffled. I'm sure there's some service technicians out there. Skardal ahead by 0.3 of a second.
Oh boy, what an upset this would be. Skardal from Norway. I'll bet that's getting their attention at the finish line. This race isn't over yet. He's a big, strong skier, and he's good in turns. He turns very well. Used to be a good slalom and giant slalom skier. Let's take a look at the next intermediate time, and he's dead even. He's dead even with Tauscher right now. This could be a tremendous upset. If he can ski these turns well.
Well, he's got it. He's a little bit on his inside ski there, but coming around this last corner, he's got to get back in his tuck.
Over these last rolls through the finish line. Is it enough? No, he lost time, and he's down there in 6th place. Tauscher was unbelievable, I guess, in those turns at the bottom. There he is, the leader. He can't believe it. Cannot believe it. And now is Klaus Gattermann from West Germany. He had the fastest training time yesterday. Many people felt that part of the reason was because of the skis he's using. And those skis are the same ones that Tauscher, who's in 1st place, was using. Also that Bollischer used in the win she had yesterday. Let's see. And he's 0.3 of a second behind, so he's running well.
Well, if Tauscher's skis have hit the wax today, then for sure Gattermann's going to be on the line as well.
It's amazing how one brand of skis will in one kind of weather and another. Today, it's a day for vocal.
It's incredible, isn't it? But you have to have all the elements there. You can't just stand on them either. You've really got to be making the turns as well.
But he's in 9th position. Still not that bad when you think he started 23rd. He feels good about the course. And he had a couple of good training runs, Todd.
Well, remember, too, these kids have been racing in Europe all year, away from home, and when they get home here and they're in front of their home crowd, it gives them an extra boost of confidence.
I feel the same way. How do you feel?
Exactly.
Let's see how his time is as he comes down through here. 1.4 seconds out. If Olsen has a problem, it's that he's so hard on himself personally. He wants it so badly.
I find that's a sign of a winner. If you don't get frustrated and really mad and really want it, then you're not going to be the best in the world.
But you still have to relax on the race course. And here comes Jeff Olsen through the finish line. Where will he be? 14th spot for Jeff Olsen from the United States. Not bad, starting 30th. 20-year-old A.J. Kitt from Rochester, New York has just been named. Now A.J. Kitt is in the starting gate. The U.S. ski team coaches have been spending a lot of time with Kitt. They think he's a tremendous talent, and they've had him racing on the Europa Cup circuit, which is for the younger racers, just about ready to go on the World Cup, rather than let him get beat up on those tougher World Cup races.
I think that's a good idea. Certainly he's got the talent, but you have to build up your confidence, too, if you're going to start winning these World Cup races. And racing the Europa Cup is the only way to build up confidence.
And he's quite a ways behind, 2.76 seconds.
Having some problems getting in a good shape for this last couple corners.
A.J. Kitt headed Green Mountain Valley School in Vermont and almost put his tips right up on his nose there and through the finish. You don't want to do that in 28th spot. On the bottom half of the course, 18-year-old Tommy Moe from Girdwood, Alaska. This youngster is loaded with talent, and he's gaining a lot of experience. The Todd, it's probably unrealistic to think he could do that well today.
But that's okay. This racing in the World Championships is a great experience. He's only about a second behind.
Maybe it's more than just for experience. He's less than a second behind the leader. He better get that hand up, though, and not drop it in the snow.
He's falling inside there, lost a lot of momentum in that corner, but he's back into it again.
Mo is having a good race. People from Vail will be screaming down here at the bottom, and what a good result for him. Started 35th, and at the moment he's in 12th spot, and he's very happy with it. Entire world of Alpine ski racing here today, followed by 4 Swiss, but there's room for only one at the top, and that person is Tauscher. We'll be back with a word from West Germany, who has stood the challenge of 4 Swiss. For the United States, 18-year-old Tommy Moe started 35th and finished with the best result of his racing career, 12th place. Jeff
26-year-old Martin Hangel of Switzerland.
And this Super G is being run on the bottom of the women's downhill. It's about 2/3 of the way down the hill. And as we watch number 1 today, we should remember that earlier this morning in the women's Super G, number 1 was the winner.
Well, one of the things we've seen all week is that the early numbers seem to have the better grip on the snow. And as you watch Martin Hangel come down here, the first 20 gates of this course, he just is in a crouch. That's all he does. He stays down very, very low. A couple of places he's got to come out. And then down here, he gets into the more technical part. And he's got to hold that lower ski and keep it carving and not let it go sideways ever. There's some great bumps on the course. When we saw them training earlier, the women's downhill, it was fabulous to watch them, and we anticipated this air time with the Supergiant Slalom.
It's been a busy day today, Karen.
That's right. Because of the problems with the snow, they had to bunch up some races and run both Super Gs this morning. And it was still very cold this morning when the women ran at 9:30, and it hasn't warmed up that much today for the men. Whoa.
Lots of air there. He's carrying a lot of speed down here. His mid-time was 54.24, and you can see that he's maintaining contact with the snow all the way down except where the large bumps are, and making those skis carve and carrying the speed down. He's got a lot of air time there.
And we saw some women having some problems on that very same jump called the wall that the Austrians called it, and there's a lot of air on that.
Second midway time, 1:18.15. Martin Hangel's having a very good run here. He's standing on the lower ski very well and making it maintain a smooth arc all the way around the corner. Oh, he got a little bit on the inside there, and then he's got back over the lower ski, and he's controlling it all the way down here to the finish pitch.
And Hangel's to the finish line, and he has a good standard of 1:38.81. Here's the great Perman Zurbriggen of Switzerland, the 26-year-old who is a 2-time overall World Cup champion.
That's right, Zurbriggen's been great in years past, and as we watch the Super G, we should remember again that you don't get training on the Super G like you do on the downhill. They inspect it 1 or 2 times, and then it's full race mode.
Perman's had a first this year in Schladming and a 4th in Locks. You notice he's maintaining that low position on the skis that the Swiss are so good at, is just keeping those hands up in front and staying in a crouch. And he's coming up to the first midway time here. Hangel set a pace of 54.24, 54.73, he's 49/100ths behind.
Of course, Pierman has a lot of Super G wins to his credit. He's had 8 Super G wins since 1983, and he's had bunches of seconds. He's had about 11 seconds.
You can really see that he's maintaining the contact with the snow. That's so important in Super G, even though it's fast and you got the bumps. He hit a little hard there, cost him a little bit, but he's maintaining the smooth arc all the way around the corner. There's the second midway, 1:18.58. He's 43/100ths. He's picked up just a couple of hundredths down here, but he's going to have to do better than that if he's going to catch his teammate Hangel.
Whoa.
Ooh, trouble.
Leaned to the inside. Leaned to the inside, then got twisted as he went over the knoll. It's going to be close. 1:39.09.
Just a quarter of a second, but Zurbriggen is in second place, and Hangel is our leader. Kassegar's Felix Belchik.
And Felix last year had a win in this event in the Super G in Leukerbad. The course was a little bit different there with some 180-degree turns in it, but we're hoping for good things from Felix.
He was a little offline there, Karen, as he came over that knoll. He wasn't maintaining contact with the snow. He was a little late on his pre-jump, but he's keeping that low profile and trying to let the skis carve out on every turn. It's so important in Super G. Stand on that lower ski. We're going to see what he is at the midway time. 54.24 is the time to beat. 55.20, almost a second behind.
It's not too bad. Felix seems to be skiing well. He seems to be carving good turns. He's hitting a lot of gates.
Little rough in there. You know, it's so important on this snow. We found it all week difficult to maintain a smooth arc after the first couple of runners had gone down the course, and it's tough to keep the ski carving down there. It's coming up the second midway time. 120.34. He's just not running as quickly as he should be.
Yeah, he seems to have lost about a second from that second interval to the third interval. Oh, lost him. There he is.
As he comes over the last face here, you got to look for how much he makes the ski arc all the way around the corners.
And Belchik's in 3 seconds behind in 6th position at the present time. This is Yugoslavia's 24-year-old Tomasz Cheeseman from Ljubljana.
And Cheeseman's had some good runs here. Actually, in Calgary last year at the Olympics, he had a 9th in Super G, which was pretty good. I guess ever since Yuri Franko's been coming on, he had the bronze in Sarajevo at the Olympics. The Yugoslavs have really been picking it up.
Really controlling his skis well on the snow. You notice that carve there, that turn there. He was really standing on the lower ski, making it carve, maintaining contact without being rough, and making the edges chatter very much. And this is incredible to be running back here, number 22, and being able to be that close at that interval time. He is going to be in there. He'll be close.
Whoa.
Great time for Cheeseman. He's in 3rd place, coming out of the 22nd start spot.
Wow.
He's a happy man.
Just amazing.
That is incredible to come from that far when the course is that rough.
Another Canadian hope from Whistler, British Columbia. Here's Rob Boyd.
Now, Rob isn't usually a threat in the Super Gs. Of course, he's done well in downhills in the past. He's won a couple at Valgardena. Unfortunately, he hasn't had any top 15s in Super G, and this year he's been back placing in the 40s.
Good low position. He's trying to maintain that ski, that long arc on the ski. Coming up to the second midway time here, 120.31, 2.1 out, almost 2.2 out. Little rough there. He's not maintaining a smooth arc around the corner. He's hitting a little bit too hard there. He got twisted around. His inside hand got behind him, and that caused him to go to the inside ski.
And again, it's a little bit difficult for the later skiers, Rob being number 39.
So Boyd is 2.5 seconds off the pace in 28th spot. And there's the final standings in the men's Super G, and that number 1 start position scores again for Martin Hongel of Switzerland, followed by Perman Zurbriggen, a teammate, and Tomasz Cheeseman. 22-year-old who was 10th after the first run.
Well, he was 2.07 seconds out, and so he's got a lot to go if he's even going to have a chance at the medal. You see, as he's coming down the course, he's trying to maintain a smooth arc all the way down and yet not be too hard on the edges.
And Meyer had great results in Calgary. He had a 7th at the Olympics. And actually, in 1987, he won a giant slalom in Kranjska.
This year, he's at 2 fourths and 11. And so he's really got to push himself to try and get a top 10, top 3 result. See him trying to stand on the lower ski and keep the skis carving and yet not lose any slide time. You don't want the skis going sideways. 48.34, 1.35 seconds ahead in this second run at the midpoint.
Whoa, he got a little behind there, just sat back, but he's carrying great speed.
You know what I see, Karen, is these skiers are so aggressive in giant slalom. I mean, they go after the gates, and they're just trying to attack as fast and as hard as they can all the way down. Now, as he comes over this last flat section onto the pitch, he's got to throw his body forward. There he got back on the tails. You see the snow flying up, but he maintained contact with the snow and kept the skis carving.
Helmut Meyer through the finish, a great time. He's 0.8 of a second in the lead, and he is a very happy skier. This is Perman Zurbriggen from Switzerland, 3rd after the first run.
Perman was 1.2 seconds, 1.26 seconds out, sorry, from the leader after the first run. And he's had a few problems. It seems like his timing is off. When he fell in the downhill training and hurt his ribs, it seems like he hasn't really got back on track. And it's not the Perman we're used to watching in World Cup and Olympic competition. There, he's twisted there. He pushed too hard on one turn, didn't get off the ski the right way, and it caught on him, and he almost twisted on the course.
Of course, Zurbriggen's been winning giant slaloms for a long time, since 1982, and he's been winning all the way till 1987. And actually in Calgary, he had a bronze in the same event.
Here we see him coming up to the first mid-time. 49.15 is the pace. 49.62, he's 0.47 behind.
There's a good close-up there of him gritting his teeth.
He had a first and a second and a fifth this year in giant slalom skiing. He's trying to keep the skis carving, hands out in front as he comes down here on this last flat section before he hits the steep pitch. He'll have to throw his body forward so that he doesn't stay on the tails. He's carving really fine turns down here, maintaining contact with the snow and keeping those skis moving.
Zurbriggen is in second place, just 1/10 of a second behind Meyer, so it's going to be interesting. This is Rudolf Nerlich of Austria, our leader.
Rudolf Nerlich led the first run by .97, almost a second. He was really fast on the first run, making the skis carve. I've looked all my life for a perfect run in giant slalom, and he came the closest I've ever seen. He maintained contact with the snow, made the skis carve, hardly ever slid. There you see he puts his outside arm. The left arm goes up high. There he almost went down again because of that. When you put your arm up like that, it tilts the shoulders, puts the hip in, weight goes onto the inside ski, and he almost went down. He was very, very lucky to maintain control and stay over that lower ski.
Of course, Nerlich had a fifth in Calgary, and he's looking pretty good here today. And to lead by a second after the first run, that's just incredible.
He got a second and a first this year in the World Cup competition. 1.73 ahead at the 48-second mark. He is just setting an incredible pace. And you see him leaning again. He's had trouble on that turn on that one side. He's going to have to work at keeping that left arm down, because every time he gets on a left turn, he popped it up again, leans to the inside. That's going to get him one of these times.
And this is a tough giant slalom course. I got up there to look at this run just before they ran, and there are knolls and rolls the whole way down.
Here's the finish line, and Nerlich is through in first place by over a second and a half. Just an amazing run. And the standings after 15 skiers: Nerlich of Austria, followed by teammate Meyer, and then Zurbriggen of Switzerland. And Alain Villiard from Saint-Adèle, Quebec.
Well, Alain trains slalom. He's a true slalom specialist. He works on slalom all the time. He doesn't train very much for giant slalom, but here you see him today, and this is good experience for him. It gives him a chance to get familiar with the hill, the type of snow, how it's going to feel under his skis, but most of all, it's giving him a chance to work at carving those turns down the hill in competition.
And in 1987, Alain was the most improved skier from the national ski team. And in 1987, also at Croix-Montagne at the World Championships, he finished 28th in the giant slalom.
You see the difference between him and the first seed guys. He doesn't maintain a smooth arc. The skis are on edge, and then they're off edge, and it's sort of a hesitancy all the way down. And that's the difference between a true giant slalom skier and a slalom skier.
Villiard through the finish, about 8 seconds behind in 24th position. This is Canadian Rob Crossan out of Barrie, Ontario.
He looks ski now. It's going to be great experience for him to be in these World Championships and ski in these courses. He gets a chance to see what it's like in a really tough course, really tough conditions, change of terrain. You can see the timing is off. He's not on the lower ski the way he should be. He's not starting the turn above the gate. He's waiting to start the turn at the gate. He's 9.2 out at the mid-time. And it's just going to take experience for him to get over those skis and learn to turn earlier and maintain a smooth arc throughout the turn.
And we must remember, when we see that mid-time, it's including the first run. So Rob was actually 5.4 seconds out the first run, plus the top half of the second run.
About 4 seconds out on this run in the mid-time. You can see the difference, Al. He just doesn't maintain a smooth arc through the turns. Again, two-footed skiing. He's on one foot, then the other foot, then the other foot, and he doesn't maintain a smooth arc.
But Crossan gets home in 30th position, 11.5 seconds off. This is Dave Duchesne out of Bromont, Quebec.
Again, an opportunity out for him to get experience. He's got to maintain a lower position, stand on that outside ski, be a little more aggressive. He's not really aggressive. It looks like he's just out having a free ski. And a racer has to be looking for speed. And David is not looking for speed. He's standing on the skis, waiting for the gates to come to him.
This is only David's second year on the team, so hopefully he'll get experience for the 1991 World Championships in Saalbach.
This is great experience for him.
37th place right now, 16 seconds off for David Duchesne. Final standings in the men's giant slalom: Rudolf Nerlich of Austria, the winner. His teammate Meyer is second. Hermann Zurbriggen picks up a bronze medal. And the other finishers in the top